Hi. Hi there. I think the first thing I want to talk about is perception. Now, what is perception? Your perception is everything. And very important thing to talk about. Your perception is what molds you. But your perception of yourself isn't necessarily how the world is or how people are. So this is how it's very easy to understand someone. It's when you understand this that people perceive. That's why I always say that your perception is your reflection, because people see things based on the mirror of themselves, of what they feel within, their perceptions of themselves within, and that determines how they see the world. And just meditate upon that idea for a minute and you'll see it's true. And that's it. And that's why I always say that controlling the world is all geared towards, it's all to do with perceptual molding, perceptual manipulation. And that's how you control the world. If you control people's perceptions, you control what they're going to think, what they're going to do, their lives, and this is how you would engineer history. I talk about history engineering, and I believe that, of course, you would have to engineer history to control the future perceptions. This is like the topic I talk about in counterintelligence. And you would have to do it. Because then when they see the history, that the history would then give them a perception of the past, and that would affect their present. So this is how reality is shaped, and that's how the programming is. That's why I say you can either go by the outward distractions, the outward programming, or you can program yourself. Because you're just a perceptual state of awareness. And that's to do with everything in the body, your ears, the way you look. You change what you are by your perceptions, that's it. That's how someone can do something that's out of the ordinary. The only difference with them is that they've got a different perception. A cat and a dog have got a different perception to you, that's why they're a cat and a dog. You see? So that's, every life is that. And every different kind of life is a different type of perception. But that's how one would control the world. Nothing happens by accident. It's so obvious to see that nothing happens by accident. When you start to pay attention and you look at the fact that you start looking and you see the steps, this is what I started to do. In this awakening, I started to look around and see how everything follows another thing perfectly. And then I started to think, reality is all arranged. It's all like arranged by the system. And it sounds like a really intelligent thing probably, but it's called counterintelligence. And history engineering is a big part of that. How you engineer the history, you just perceptually program the current people of this time, and they will create the future, which will be your later history. This is why I don't believe in anything outward. I think all outward I am absolutely sure that all outward has been moulded just the way it is. So I don't trust any of it. I'm not saying it isn't true. That doesn't mean it isn't true. It means that it's been arranged to be the history like that so that your perceptions will be programmed. So it doesn't mean that, so I'm not saying that the history isn't real. It is real. But it's been engineered, then people were engineered to create that outcome so that you would have so you would see it and you would have a perception. That would mold you. Everything you interact with interacts with your perceptions. This is why when you become aware of this, you become very careful of your perceptions. You become very careful what you interact with, what you watch. And if you watch TV, I don't watch TV now. I used to. Before the spiritual awakening, I was one of those that watched all the soaps and everything. I did. And now I don't watch TV. The only time I put it on is when Man United are playing. And even that is to control everybody. Sport. What does sport do? It distracts you. Now, but if you're aware of what this is, then you're pretty much protected. Because self-awareness is what protects you. But the idea is so that you're not aware. So that you don't have a clue what's going on. It's like if someone was to give you a very potent drug and you don't know what that drug is going to do, and you take it and you take two and it's very strong, then it's going to affect you. But if you're aware of it, then you're kind of protected a lot by being aware of it, aware of the power. But everything comes from perceptions. I like this kind of music on because this allows the person that's listening to become meditative. What's meditation? Meditation just means you're just basically allowing yourself to flow. You're just allowing yourself to fall into a subject or a thing and just be it. It's actually our natural state. And it helps you find the truth. When the ego is working and we're all like really anxious and wanting to be right all the time, we can't find the answer. Well, perceptual manipulation, that's the name of the game if you want to control society. And then once you start looking around, you start seeing how films is, and you start seeing it's all geared towards molding that perceptions. And then you see how finance is at the top. And that's kind of like separating the lower end of the spectrum people to the high end. And then you realize that whoever created the financial model is the ruler of the world. Whoever's in charge of this financial system. And then you think, well, any system is just an idea. Everything comes from an idea, so it has to be a person. Unless I'm wrong about that. But all ideas lead to usually one person that came up with the idea. Might be a bit like one of that superhero movies when it's always one person doing it all. All it takes is that. All it takes is one psychopath in the world to have a crazy idea of like, you know, killing people or doing harm or controlling everything, and then that can get itself to other people. You know, when I talk about right and wrong and everything's made up, yeah, right and wrong, but then hurting someone is a different thing. When I say right and wrong and it's just made up, I don't mean that people should go around raping people and killing people for no reason. What I mean is a lot of the stuff that's made up, that's right and wrong, is just stupid. It's like education system, it's just made up. And the children are meant to repeat, and if they don't repeat after the teacher, they get into trouble. That again, that's another thing about molding perceptions, the education system. The education system is about building perceptions, not intelligence. But when you get someone who's got a posh voice and they've been to university, people think they're a genius, but actually no, they've just got a very rich family. That's why they've got a posh voice. I knew this when I was a little kid. That's why I didn't pay attention. I knew what it was. I knew it was a waste of time. And then years later, at 24, I had this amazing awakening. And it showed me what I knew all along, which was the real intelligence is the heart area. Heart intelligence. This is how I'm aware of all this knowledge I speak of. This is why I tap into so much knowledge. I manifest it. I don't ask for it. I just practice presence. I'm still. And things will manifest. I will receive knowledge from, call it oversoul, call it higher self, higher consciousness, but that's what I'm tapping into. What's within me. And that's how I tap into all this knowledge. That's all I'm doing, just going within and being present. The awakening happened one day when I had enough, and then I started to listen to what was in presence and what's within. But one won't do that when they're chasing the outward matrix distractions, because they always think there's something better outward. They always think there's something better than themselves. So then when you get love, people that get married or something, it's all about what you can do for me. I love you, but there's a condition attached. That's the kind of love that they have. It's not to love, because to love is to love. It's just to love without expectations back, of anything back. But back to perceptions, that's how everything's controlled. Every area of life is brainwashing. And it starts as soon as you're born. And there's no getting away from that. The brainwashing starts as soon as you're born. But I'm just going to end it there. And if you're watching, you're meant to watch it. Everything follows divine order and divine timing. This is meant. Nothing happens by accident. Thank you for watching. Thank you.